And how did you two find each other as teammates?
Tinder. we talked about it yesterday. So I think we met each other the first time actually here 2 years ago. Hugo were racing with Mathieu and I was racing with Alexander Berggren. And you and Mathieu finished first and we finished second. And after that, I mean, we have been racing in different teams, but in the same races quite a lot. In the community, everyone is friendly, so it's pretty easy to start to talk to each other and get to know each other when you're doing the same races and when you're battling next to each other. So, yeah, I think that's how it all started before we started to race together, at least.
And after the World Champs, like Mathieu was injured, I was searching for new partners to finish the year. And at that exact right point, Fredrik was there and he was nearby. And Fredrik said, "It seems like it's time for you guys to give it a try."
It takes more than two good athletes to become a good swimrun team. You really need to work as a team and you need to manage yourself as a team. So I think you can put together two really strong athletes, and if they cannot find their way to work as a team, they will still not manage to be good in swimrun. So I think that the team spirit is the most important for both of us.
Hey, buddy! I enjoy the sand. Oh no!
And I think we both felt that we have something there when we were racing in Cannes the first time. So.
We were on the same position, I think, at the time, deciding to first try to win the World Champs and then try to win everything all the year long.
It was a cold one, a tough one.
A really tough one.
It was really a mental battle, I think, for both of us. And yeah, we were. The cold was definitely a tough one, and we have tough competition as well. We were really challenged along the course.
Because, for example, like the third and the fourth swim, I was really struggling, having stars. I almost stopped during swimming, and Max was in still a good shape at that point. And I started to think, how can I manage this? Because I really don't want to get back in the water and feeling this trench feeling again. I was almost about to say, Max, I don't want to go further. And like 1 or 2 hours later, we were at the last island on the north of Öster. And at that point, Max was like, Hugo, it's going to be difficult to finish.
My body just stopped working because people were just so cold and tired. So some teams almost stopped moving there. And if you just continue moving, not fast, it was just enough to continue moving, then you could easily open up gaps to other teams. So yeah. Get me to the finish line. I was like, if we'll manage to the finish line alive, I will be super happy.
Anything can happen in a race, and you just have to fight against yourself and work as a good team together to help each other and try to find solutions to go further.
We crossed the finish line and continued straight towards the finish line into the hot and warm sauna, and we spent like 1.5 hours in there in wetsuits and trying just to
stop struggling.
Yeah, exactly. So,
not to be warm, just to stop struggling.
It was the most challenging race I've ever done. Yeah, big key learning is that if we manage to take ourselves to the finish line on that race, I think no other race will be as hard as that. So I think it was a good feeling to know that if we manage that one, we will be able to manage the rest of them for the season.
What a trip!
We had a whole great experience the whole weekend together with Desiree and Fanny. We were traveling and staying together, and we made a whole weekend of it. I think Michael said it pretty well. It's a pain to get to that location, but when you are there, you don't want to leave because it's so beautiful and amazing to be there. Beautiful location, and the race was good.
The race was really good.
Yeah.
cold again. I think because it's mostly really long swims, and from the beginning, because in the beginning you have like a 2K, only 700 running, and also again 1 and 2K.
The course there it has a little bit similarities to the World Champs in terms of the structure of the course. You have like 3 major long runs there, which is also the same on the World Champs, where you have 3 major long runs. So I think our plan in that race was to control the pace on the swims and control the pace on the shorter runs, but then really try to make a push on these longer runs, just to feel a little bit of the same feeling as we will have on the ÖTILLÖ, to make a push on a longer run with tired legs. And yeah, I think we followed that plan very well, and we managed to win that race and had a really good day. Engadin is a nice experience. I mean, I did that race 2018 with my brother, as I think it was the first World Series race I did, and that whole venue, that whole location is really something special. This year we came to Engadin just the day before the race, so the altitude question was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, for both of us, because if I remember well, in this period we were pushing hard on the training part. So we did not arrive in the best health conditions there. We were already tired before the race, and adding the altitude things, it was kind of big deals to deal with. Let's take it easy from the beginning, because we know that the longer it is, the better we are, and let's see how we will deal with the altitude in the beginning. Still try to make a gap in the swims, because this is our strength, but slow down. And even if we were, for this one, I think it's the last only one in the whole year where we said don't push anytime. Just at the end, if we really feel good, but even if it's not a good idea to push, because we are high in altitude, we just arrived, we will leave the next day, and it doesn't worth it. I think we will mostly kill ourselves if we do something stupid at that kind of altitude.
We did what we have to get that gap, and then we controlled it, and we could see teams behind us that day as well, so we knew that they were chasing us, but we made sure we maintained that gap, and as Hugo said, it was not worth taking the risk to push ourselves all out. I think we managed our plan there and got away with the win, which was the biggest priority for that race. To win with as little effort as possible, if you can do that. Of course, we did a big effort, but we did it in a controlled way, and I think we got away with no injuries and in pretty good health conditions from that race.
The thing is, this race we had a plan, but we changed it after like 100 meters from the start. Because on the first turn left, if I remember well, it's because of Adriel. He's almost fall down and bring everyone with him. In this kind of condition, with the weather, the tiredness, and having pressure with everyone around, you can easily get injured. And after this starts, when this happens, and I touch Max back and I say, I don't want to stay there, let's go.
I think we did it good, but it was a little bit of a mess that whole day, because the wind and the swims were so choppy, and a lot of things happened. And also then when we had the sprint and experience races on the same course, it was a lot of people on the course at the same time. It was hard to see if you have any World Series teams behind you, or if it was sprint teams or experience, and we had to pass teams, and it was just more chaos in terms because of that and because of the weather and because of the tricky course.
Most of the time I'm in the front in the swims, but during the runs we like to switch. And I remember this race, I think I've made almost 80% in front of it.
Yeah, it's hard because you're in and out of the water so many times there, and because of the weather and the choppy water, and you want to be close to each other and do not lose each other. And because of that, we choose to have the rope on for almost the entire race. We're just going as a train, not as a team.
So, a big hand for Sven, the winner in the sprint category.
Kaffekaka fjärde raka.
For now, when I have a look at it, I think we have like the perfect season until ÖTILLÖ. I think thanks to that, we were almost prepared for every kind of conditions we could have for ÖTILLÖ.
Hello Rasmus.
Hello. Are you ready?
Fine. Yeah.
Are you?
I was really excited about this one.
This was the main thing in our project and the thing that we have been looking forward to the most the whole year.
We both arrived in perfect health conditions. Training Spain goes perfectly as we want. The weather forecast was about to be perfect.
It's real propaganda weather.
Yeah. I was really excited to see what we were about to do.
It's 8 o'clock now. Maybe we'll sleep in 30 minutes and then go up 3:30. So how many hours is that? 5?
Yeah, it's hard to say because I think I will try to be on bed like in half an hour or something like this. But the night before, it's always hard to fall asleep by my side. So
We see you tomorrow morning.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
bye, sleep well. This way.
Yeah.
We're living here. We do not train together, obviously, since Hugo living in Paris and me in Gothenburg. But I think all these weekends where we have been racing together has been a really good learning process this year. And I know Hugo is very confident with his training, and I feel very confident in my training. And I think Hugo feels the same for me. And we are not the same person, so we do not prepare exactly the same way. But I think we both have trust in that both of us are doing what we can, and when we are on that start line, both of us have made sure that we have done the preparations needed to be in the best shape possible.
It's all about trust in the process, and for sure we are competitors, but we are not competitors between us, because you need to have a good competitions in between the team to make you go higher and stronger, but don't say, oh, you done that, so you're better than me, or I'm better than you. I've been doing it 3 times now as a racer, but in total I think I've been on the course 6 or 8 times. So I try to remember every section and every specificities, and I even write it down on a note on my phone that I send to Max before the summer camp.
So when you are at the start line on the World Champs on that day, you should be able to visualize almost the whole course, both in terms of how it looks and so you know the sections, but also then that you have your race plan very clear in mind. And the race plan then is, of course, when we should take nutrition, when we should cab down the wetsuits, when we should have the rope on or off, how do we want to manage the race, where should we push, where should we take it easy, where is our strengths, where is our weaknesses. So just have that whole picture clear. And I think to be on the course before the race, it helps a lot, because it's impossible to look at that map and try to visualize the race. I think you need to have been there and see the different sections and the different islands, because they are so different to each other. Some islands are very, very tricky, slippery rocks. Some are really nice, beautiful forest trails. Some are gravel or even road running, as on Une, and that's hard to see on a map, basically.
about the race. How did it start? I remember an accident already in the beginning with the quad.
I think you remember only one, but most of people remember only one. But there is 2 accidents.
What happened at the beginning of the race?
The first one is me. I broke my paddle just before this, the one you know. Yeah, I broke my paddle, and at that time I say, okay, no problem. I will manage this because I broke just the ended stripe, not the finger stripe. So I say, okay, no problem. I will do it. And just like 20 or 30 meters after that, there was the place where the quad stopped. They were kind of misunderstood if we need to go straight, right, left, and then finally we go left, but we were not sure about it, and then there's a tree. We have the rope on. Max goes by one side, I goes by the other one, and so it was like, boom, okay, don't move. I will go around. So I finally go around this tree, and then we were more in the back before this swim. In the meantime, this permit us to choose our own way of going into the water. They all start on the left side of the beach, and we start from the right side. So that also helps us, I think, to make the gap from the beginning.
Yeah, it played out pretty well. We managed to get our own way into the water and free way in the water. And on that swim, I don't know if you remember, maybe 500 meters in, I was looking back while swimming and like, this is good, we have a gap. Looking back a little bit later, and then I see a green cap coming closer from behind. And I was like, what the is this? What is happening now? Someone is actually taking time on us in the swims.
And then we arrive on this rock, and I was about to stand up, and then I seen someone in my left, which was not Max. And I was like, damn it! What is this? Who is this guy? And then I realized it was Alex.
Yeah, and I know you were shouting at me when we got up on that first island. You were like, did they have any other teams with them? Or was it just them, or was it any other team? And I was like, no, it was just them. Take it easy, it was just them. We will just do our thing now on this first island and run, and we will hopefully have a gap.
And the trickiest part was that we were supposed to switch our paddle, thanks to the one I broke, because Max preferred, and it was the right choice to do, me to have 2 right paddle and him having one good and one not that good.
It broke on the first swim, and then I took it for the second swim, but then on the third swim I actually lost it. I mean, obviously it's not ideal to swim 7K on the World Champs with one paddle, but I wasn't stressed about it, and I think you weren't either.
A lot of things can happen, so you just need to not stop on any things that happen. Just deal with it, but you don't need to cry for this. It's like that. So
I think we handled it well, and we felt confident.
Hello, sport drink.
Yes.
Sport drink.
Yep. This is sport drink. Yeah. Sport.
Thank you.
I like the things happening around the course. I like cheering on people, like smiling. Obviously game face on and always focusing on the race, but I think I gain energy if I give away some energy to people around me, and especially to Hugo as the teammate. If I can give Hugo some energy, I will for sure get double back. I prefer being happy and outgoing on the race than closed into myself and do not talk to anyone. I think that is taking more energy from me. I felt personally very, very strong the whole way until we reached Orne. Directly, my legs were starting to feel more heavier than before. I told Hugo that I felt a little bit more tired and low, and asked if I could set the pace for that run. We ran next to each other mostly of that part, with me setting the pace most of it. And then when we got to the church, we filled up with some energy, and I started to feel better. So
he was just happy because he gets some chewy in the energy station. I just got gum.
I think that can be seen on the movie. I have the mouth full of candy after Orne kyrka. We managed to have a pretty good pace from that point. When we got into the water, jumping off of Orne, I mean, that's only some small islands left there before going to ÖTILLÖ. I think that was a fun part because we were running, swimming, jumping in there and out in the water, up in the water. And then when we arrived at ÖTILLÖ, I was like looking at my watch. Like, we had 13 minutes, Hugo, should we 7 hours? And Hugo was like, yes. And I was like, ah. And yeah, and then we start running. I think we made our fastest kilometers there on the whole race. I think we were running 3:45, 3:50, or even a little bit faster on the downhills. I mean, we have been talking about course record 7 hours 30 minutes. I think we said the 7 hours 15 minutes would have been cool, but I think you cannot really set a time before you really know the conditions and how you are doing on that day. It was so good to have that strong feeling after 6 hours 50 minutes of racing and be able to just put on another gear that we haven't really been using at all during that race.
The best race ever, I would say.
Thank you.
Anyway, to the finish line.
This was the funniest so far. I was mostly very, very happy, and it felt like reaching a goal for us as a team that's been the biggest for this year, and I think I was just happy for our own performance.
You have to be proud now. Now you can. Let's be proud. And, yeah, it's okay to be proud.
7 hours 00 and 59 seconds. Our swimrun, Hugo Tormento from France and Andersson from Sweden, who have won every race this year. They continue to show why they are, without any doubt, absolute best in the world. Fantastic racing, Max, Hugo. It's an honor to watch you race this year, and we hope that you really go for a clean record of time in Malta as well. You are amazing world champions, and now you have something to beat. 59 seconds next year.
Before the race, to me, I was quite nervous. We take time to recover after World Champs, and then I had a fall down on my head 2 weeks ago, and almost break my face 2 weeks ago. So I had a bad period, and I've also been sick, so I did not train as good as I wanted to. I told Max that it might be the toughest one for this year. It was one we really need to win, because as we said, the plan was to win everything this year.
Do you want to make a joke?
Yesterday was the one where we were in the best positions to lose, or at least to not win. Yeah, all the year long we managed to make the gap in the swims. And this one we made it thanks to the run.
Yeah, it was another kind of experience and race yesterday than we had before. As you said, the swimming part, I mean, we had open up gaps the whole season in swims, and yesterday we were together with another team and Mathieu, who was racing solo for 2 hours almost. Our plan A going into this race was to try to create a gap in the 2 first swims. But we were somehow, I think we both felt that we might have some company in this race. So we had also had, like, the plan B was actually on this long run, try to push on the last uphill, or push the uphill and be pretty fast in the trails downhill. And yeah, when plan A didn't work, when we didn't get the gap in the first swims, we had to go for plan B, and we pushed the runs, pushed on that uphill, and just before the uphill we managed to get a small gap, and then we could continue. And when coming down from that long run on that hill and done another swim, we heard that we had 3.5 minutes gap, so that plan worked out well, and I think we both feel proud that we managed to do that, and it was another kind of experience for us to race like that and to push that hard in a run together with other good and strong athletes.
Not only are they the 2022 World Champions, but they have won 6 consecutive
We will train hard now and be in our best shapes for that race, because we hope and think we will have some good competition there. It will be super fun to have that, but we want to win it, obviously, and the race plan will have to come later when we get closer to the race.
I hope it will be as hard as it can be, and yeah, we'll have a good day out over there to finish the best way we can this season, and there's just one more steps to do to finish it.
We're not the fastest runners in terms of, I think it's a lot of other guys that run at 10k faster than we do, but I think we are strong runners.
It's important to create those 2 first meters gap. That's the most important part. Then it's easy to increase. The thing is mostly about making the first gap.
Swimrun is a combination of everything. You can be a super good pool swimmer, but you can have troubles running after you have been swimming open water, and then you will have issues with swimrun. And I think we both are swim runners more than swimmers and runners.
Game pace on.
How's it going, guys?
Great. Having a really good journey out there. The wind is strong, so at some point it feels like we are not moving at all. But yeah, perfect journey, really good ground.
It's a really good sport, but it's even better when you can share it with someone you're enjoying being with, and you're passing through a lot of emotions, and so you need to deal with it too. And it's important to me to be in the same mind position.
Last year it was like, okay, let's do the year just to win the World Champs, and then it was more like a running job to make the whole year winning straight, and finally we made it.
Yeah, it was a dream coming true, and it was the big project for this year, and it feels amazing to accomplish this.